Welcome back to Naughty Lily's Crochet. Today I want to show you how to use stitch markers. I had done another video of this before, but I'm updating it now that I have been teaching some students and seeing where we could improve, and they've been missing some stitches, and I want to show you a better way to use the stitch markers. So stitch markers are going to help you keep the count of your stitches correct, so you're not losing stitches, accidentally skipping stitches either in the beginning or at the end, and your work is starting to kind of go inward, or maybe you're adding stitches and making it bigger. So stitch markers are going to help with that. So I'll show you how. So let's say we're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10. And if you know how to do the single crochet, what we're going to do is we are going to go into the second chain from the hook. So what that means is this stitch right here is actually going to kind of become the side stitch, and we're going to lose a stitch in our count. Okay, so now if we go all the way around, we will have 9 stitches from here on out. Okay, so what you always want to do with stitch markers is put one in the first and the last stitch every time. Okay, so since I just did my first stitch, I'm going to go ahead and stick it right here. And what I do is I stick it just right under the 2 loops that I would normally do my next stitch in. Okay, and then we go to the end. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And make sure you know that your count is 1 less and that you've done every single one. So we started with 10 stitches. We took that side stitch and we skipped it, so it became the side stitch here. So now we have 10 stitches, and that's always going to be the count. Okay, so make sure that you have 9 and that you don't forget the end stitch. So now we need to put a stitch marker in the last stitch. Okay, so putting a stitch marker in this last stitch, it helps so that when you turn, you don't accidentally skip this one. Okay, so for a single crochet, we usually just chain 1 to bring our work up to the correct size, and then we turn. So here, I'm noticing that some people accidentally are skipping this first stitch. So now you have your stitch marker right here. It might seem kind of silly that you did that, but especially in the beginning, this is a very good idea just to help you realize where it needs to go. So for a single crochet stitch, what we say is that chaining or that turning chain that we just did, that 1 chain, it doesn't count as a stitch. That one's just our turning chain. So we have to make sure that we go into this very, very, very first stitch. If a pattern said that your turning chain did count as a stitch, that means that that chain that you just did is a stitch, and it's basically the one that would be here. So you have to go into the next one. But for a single crochet, we go into the very, very first one. Okay, so what I do, you have that stitch marker there, you take it out, do your very first single crochet right there, and put it right back in on the first stitch. Okay, that we did. So we just did that first stitch, so we're going to put it right here. There we go. Okay, so then I'll show you to the end here. So that's 1, and it's very important to count too, especially in the beginning, just making sure that you're doing it correctly. Just count. You can count while you're doing it if it's small enough, or you can count at the end. Okay, so that was 1. This is 2. We got, whoop, I dropped that 1. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, And then see, we have this right here, and this is telling us, hey, don't forget me. Sometimes when you get to the end, this will be kind of small depending on, on your tension or just the pattern, and you won't realize that this is a stitch. Maybe it's kind of gone more to the side and you thought that it was just part of the side. So putting the stitch marker there really helps. So we take the stitch marker out, we do the last stitch, and then since this is the last stitch, so remember we're putting it in the first and the last, we replace it on the last stitch. Okay? Then we chain one, we do the same thing. So you see now you have the stitch marker here, and this is just helping you so you don't forget that first stitch of the new round. Take it out. I know it's a lot of putting it in, taking it out. Do the first one. Try that again. And then put the stitch marker on the first stitch, okay? Especially in the beginning, this is just going to help you a lot. Figuring out, to recognize where your stitches are so you're not missing stitches in the beginning or at the end of your work. Okay, so I hope this video helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to write that in the comments. I would love it if you would like this video and subscribe to my channel to see more.